There have been plenty of books written and stories told about the days when gambling was the heartbeat of Galveston, but how the so-called glory days of the island ended has been told as little more than a footnote. In his weekly visit, author Bill Cherry tells us the story of a man who ended Galveston's days as the Vegas of the Gulf Coast.
If you've lived around here for more than 5 minutes, you know the legends of former Houston Sheriff Johnny Clevenhagen. And you also know the ones of hard-living, drinking, and womanizing criminal defense attorney Percy Foreman. But there was another Johnny Clevenhagen. He was Sheriff Clevenhagen's father. And he rode into the Gulf Coast in 1941 as Texas Ranger Captain Clevenhagen. One time Captain Clevenhagen was on the stand and Percy Foreman was cross-examining him. Percy was up to his old tricks and preached the witness at all costs. So he decided he'd start by questioning Captain Clevenhagen's integrity. The jury was sitting there taking it all in. And finally the Texas Ranger had enough. He flew out of the witness chair, drew his gun, chased old Percy out of the courthouse. No one seems to know for sure what happened after that. But the next day, as the trial continued, the jury saw Foreman was bandaged everywhere. He was on crutches, and he was complaining about his broken leg. And he didn't mention a thing again about the Texas Ranger's character. Galvestonians and tourists like to talk about the island's days of debauchery, the gambling, the drinking, the prostitution, and the high-style living. Well, let me right now give credit where credit is due to old Captain Johnny Clevenhagen, and here's how he did it. He brought in the troops of Rangers, known as Company A, and they just walked into the Balinese room every day when it opened, and they sat down, and they ate dinner, and they drank coffee, and they enjoyed the show, and they stayed till closing time. They did this for months. In fact, to make their point, they moved into the Buccaneer Hotel across the street, and they lived there for 2.5 years. And you know, with those guys chowing down and hanging out at the Balinese and the other gambling joints on the island, how could the other patrons gamble? Texas Ranger Johnny Clevenhagen did what no other lawman before him had been able to do. And it was his last accomplishment, as a matter of fact, as a lawman. I'm Galvestonian Bill Cherry, and while I love the story and the memory of Captain Johnny Clevenhagen, quite frankly, I'm sorry he showed up.